When Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion showed up to the Met Gala, the red carpet wasn't the only thing on fire, because baby, the silent war between these two rap powerhouses just exploded in front of the world. A shady meme, a cryptic lyric, and years of tension bubbling beneath the surface turned fashion's biggest night into a battlefield. And this time, Nicki didn't just clap back. She pulled receipts, threw bombs, and reminded everyone why crossing her might just cost you your career. What started as sisterhood has spiraled into one of the pettiest, most personal celebrity beefs in rap history. And it's only getting messier. The Met Gala wasn't just a fashion showdown. It was the front line of a full-blown celebrity war. Cameras may have missed it, but insiders didn't. Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion allegedly got into it behind the scenes, and the tension was so thick, stylists were reportedly asked to clear the hallway. But Megan didn't stop there. Just hours later, she posted a cryptic, not-so-subtle message on Instagram. One thing about it, Carmen never misses. Fans knew exactly who she meant. And Nicki? She clapped back with a venomous line on Twitter that had barbs foaming and blogs spiraling. You just mad the queen still reigns. This isn't just another rap girl spat. This is personal. This is petty. And baby, this is war. Now let's talk about the post that reignited it all. Because Megan didn't just walk the Met Gala red carpet. She stomped onto social media with a meme that had the internet in full detective mode. Just hours after the event, she posted a picture of SpongeBob SquarePants looking unbothered with the caption, "The face you make when the peasants start acting up." No names, no tags, but baby, the shade was loud. Fans immediately connected the dots. The timing? Too perfect. The tone? Too pointed. And the history? Oh, it runs deep. But here's where it gets even messier. Some fans weren't just reading between the lines. They were dragging Nicki by the ponytail. Comments popped off calling Megan Bigfoot, a nickname that's been used to mock her height and build for years, often by Nicki's more toxic fanbase. Which is ironic, because let's not forget Megan literally leaned into that nickname during a performance not long ago, stomping across the stage in furry boots and tossing a Bigfoot graphic on the screen like she was owning the insult. So is this SpongeBob meme Megan's way of saying she's done playing nice? Because from the looks of it, she just let everyone know. She sees the shade, and she's ready to return it. Let's rewind the clock to a time when Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion were the rap duo we didn't know we needed. Back in 2019, everything seemed sweet. The rap world was buzzing when Nicki hopped on the remix for Hot Girl Summer, a move that shocked fans and made headlines. Up until that point, Nicki was notoriously selective about who she collaborated with, especially when it came to other women in rap. So when she joined forces with Megan, it felt like a powerful alliance. Two bold, brash women at the top of their game, celebrating sex appeal, success, and sisterhood. And if that wasn't enough to send the internet into meltdown, the two of them went on Instagram, Live Together. And that moment? Instantly iconic. If you were online that night, you remember. Nicki was sipping wine, Megan was giggling, and the vibes were electric. Nicki even gave Megan her flowers in real time, praising her freestyle skills and telling the world that she was a genuine girl. It felt like the torch was being passed. You had Nicki, the reigning queen of rap, embracing Megan, the fresh face of a new era. Fans called it the start of a new chapter, one where women in hip-hop could finally stop feuding and start thriving together. For a moment, it looked like we were living in a rap utopia. But behind the scenes, the cracks were already forming. Industry insiders started whispering that the friendship wasn't as real as it looked. Some claimed Megan was strategic in aligning with Nicki, timing her rise with calculated moves to earn respect from the barbs and attach herself to the original Queen Bee. After all, Megan had only just broken into the mainstream that year, and securing a verse from Nicki Minaj was the ultimate cosign. And let's not forget, just weeks after the Hot Girl Summer collab, Megan was already teasing her next major partnership, a track with Cardi B. Now to the average fan, that might not have meant much. But to anyone even mildly paying attention to the rap drama timeline, that was a slap in the face. Because Nicki and Cardi weren't just rivals, they were the rivals. Their beef was messy, public, and still fresh. So when Megan jumped on WAP, with Cardi in 2020, fans started asking questions. Was Megan just playing both sides? Was she trying to unite the girlies? Or was she using every queen in the game to build her throne? Nicki's fans didn't hesitate. They turned on Megan with a vengeance, accusing her of being an opportunist, of clout chasing, of riding the wave until she got what she wanted. And to be fair, Nicki herself started acting distant. No more shout-outs, no more live sessions, and definitely no more collaborations. The silence was loud, and the sisterhood officially iced out. From that point on, it was clear whatever bond they once had, it had dissolved into awkward tension. Maybe it was industry politics, maybe it was ego, maybe it was betrayal, but one thing was certain. That hot girl summer, energy had cooled off and winter was coming. If there's one moment that sent a seismic ripple through female rap dynamics, it was Megan Thee Stallion linking up with Cardi B for WAP. Released in 2020, that single wasn't just a hit. It was a full-blown cultural detonation. The visuals, the lyrics, the audacity, instant classic. But beyond the bold aesthetics and viral choreography, there was something else that had fans raising eyebrows. Megan choosing Cardi, not Nicki, for her next major collaboration. And for those who remember their rap history, that was no small thing. Because Cardi B and Nicki Minaj weren't just competitors. They were locked in one of the ugliest, most public feuds the genre had seen in years. Let's back up. The tension between Nicki and Cardi started brewing way back in 2017 when they both appeared on Migos Motorsport. What should have been a female rap unity anthem turned into a messy saga of sneak disses, re-recorded verses, and icy interviews. By the time they got to the Fashion Week party in 2018, where Cardi allegedly threw a shoe at Nicki, the beef had boiled over. There were accusations of jealousy, blocked opportunities, and subtweets that had fans picking sides like it was a rap civil war. So when Megan stepped into that battlefield and chose Cardi's side for her next chart-topping moment, it felt like more than a collab. It felt like a message. At first, Megan played it cool. She publicly claimed there was no drama between her and Nicki, that she had love for both women, and that WAP was about female empowerment, not division. But fans weren't buying it. The energy had shifted. Gone were the days of bubbly Instagram lives with Nicki. Gone were the tweets calling each other queen. Instead, Megan was twerking in a mansion with Cardi while the barbs sharpened their claws. The silence from Nicki's camp? Deafening. Then came the move that said it all. Megan unfollowed Nicki Minaj on social media. No tweet, no post, no statement. Just a quiet click of the unfollow button, and suddenly the internet was in chaos. In the digital age, that's a public slap, and it didn't go unnoticed. The barbs took it as confirmation that Megan had betrayed the queen. Cardi's fans saw it as proof that Megan was loyal to their girl. And neutral fans? They saw a once promising alliance between two powerful women implode under the weight of ego, loyalty tests, and industry chess. But what made it even more fascinating was how calculated it all felt. Megan never addressed the unfollow. She didn't offer explanations. No subtweets. No interviews. Just that one action and silence. Which made it louder. Because when a public figure doesn't explain themselves, the fans will. And they did. Some said Megan was finally choosing peace over politics. Others claimed she was burning bridges to protect her new alliances. Whatever the truth is, one thing was clear. The minute she teamed up with Cardi, Megan Thee Stallion stopped being just a hot girl. She became a player in a very old, very personal rap war. And she chose her side with a verse, a video, and one little unfollow. By 2022, the tension between Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj had stopped being speculative. It had morphed into something more insidious. Less direct shots, more icy silences, and barely veiled jabs. No more hot girl summer, smiles, no public fallout either. Just a cold war of subliminals, interviews, lyrics, and social media breadcrumbs that kept fans on edge. This wasn't beef in the traditional sense. This was passive aggression, and it was calculated. It all started simmering again when Megan sat down for a high-profile interview ahead of her Traumazine album release. The host asked her a fairly standard question about women in rap. Specifically, which female rapper she believed had paved the way. You'd expect Megan to rattle off a list of legends. Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim, maybe Foxy Brown, Lauryn Hill, and of course Nicki Minaj, right? But when the moment came, Nicki's name was noticeably absent. Megan shouted out the pioneers of the early 2000s. She paid homage to the new generation. She spoke at length about how proud she was to be a part of the legacy. But the one name everyone was waiting for never crossed her lips. Now to the average listener, it might have seemed like a harmless oversight. But in the rap world, especially among women where respect is currency, not naming Nicki Minaj in that kind of context is like walking into a Catholic church and skipping over Jesus during communion. Disrespectful doesn't even begin to cover it. And the internet caught on fast. TikTok was flooded with side-by-side clips of the interview and past footage of Megan gushing over Nicki. Twitter was ablaze with fans breaking down her tone, her expressions, even her pauses, dissecting every syllable for signs of intentional shade. Some even pointed out that in earlier interviews, Megan had called Nicki a trailblazer, but now it was like she'd been scrubbed from the record. And Nicki? Oh, Nicki didn't name names. She didn't need to. Instead, she turned to her favorite battleground, Twitter. And just days after Traumazine dropped, the queen of rap sent out one cryptic tweet that sent the entire internet into detective mode. Quote, "They want to be us so bad. It's sad when the clones don't even know they're clones." No ad, no direct mention, but everyone knew who it was about. The timing? Impeccable. The tone? Icy. Fans of both sides immediately drew battle lines, with the barbs flooding timelines with clown emojis and not-so-subtle memes. Megan Minaj trended for hours, with Nicki stans accusing Megan of biting her aesthetic, her delivery, even her rollout style. And it didn't stop there. When Nicki released her single Super Freaky Girl around the same time, listeners were quick to hone in on certain lines. One lyric in particular, "All them botched faces try to claim the crown," had fans speculating. Was it a dig at Megan's recent glam look? Her evolving image? Another line, "You get slick, I get thicker / these chicks get bitter," was interpreted as a direct response to Megan's more vulnerable tracks on Traumazine, where she alluded to betrayal, fame, and feeling used. But here was Nicki flipping the narrative, suggesting she was the one being copied. She was the blueprint. Megan, for her part, stayed mostly quiet. No tweets, no clapbacks. But her silence only made the tension more potent. In one track from Traumazine, she rapped, "I know they mad 'cause I speak, and I'm real / and I'm really that be *TCH with the skill." Was it a coincidence? A coincidence that she'd drop a lyric about jealousy, authenticity, and skills right as fans were debating whether she'd intentionally left Nicki out of her rap Mount Rushmore? Or was she talking directly to the Queen Bee without saying her name? Either way, the message was clear. The friendship was gone, and the gloves were off, but no one was throwing punches. Just sharp words, subtle digs, and enough passive-aggressive energy to power a Cold War. And in the court of public opinion, silence and shade hit harder than diss tracks ever could. By 2023, the feud between Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion had fully evolved into a game of lyrical chess. No more smiles, no more collaborations, just coded messages buried deep in rap verses. Gone were the days of obvious beefs and diss tracks with names dropped. Now, the shots were disguised as clever wordplay, shaded metaphors, and double entendres that demanded fan interpretation. And nobody plays that game better than Nicki Minaj. Enter Red Ruby de Sleaze. When Nicki dropped that track, fans immediately zeroed in on one line that practically set the internet on fire. Quote, 700 on them horses when we fixin' to leave / but I don't fuck with horses since Christopher Reeve. Now, at first listen, it might just sound like a flashy flex. Expensive cars, clever punchlines. But this is Nicki Minaj. Nothing is ever just surface level. Let's break that down. Horses clearly nods to horsepower, like luxury whips, fast rides. But the second she mentions I don't F***K with horses since Christopher Reeve, the tone shifts. Christopher Reeve was the actor best known for playing Superman, who tragically became paralyzed after a horseback riding accident. So the line hits dark, but it's the horses part that fans locked in on. Because who famously refers to herself as a stallion? Megan, the Stallion. Suddenly, this wasn't just a clever line about cars or tragic accidents. It was a double entendre implying Nicki doesn't mess with stallions, any stallions, ever since things went wrong. And fans ran with it. The Barbs cheered it as a lyrical kill shot. Megan supporters called it a low blow, a distasteful jab that used a disability metaphor to imply violence. And once again, Nicki didn't clarify, didn't explain, didn't deny. She let the fire burn. And that silence? That's how you know it was intentional. But Nicki wasn't the only one playing the diss game. Megan had her own subliminals locked and loaded. When Megan released her song FTCU in late 2023, fans immediately clocked one particularly loaded line. Who you taking shots at? Goofy ass BCH / watching me succeed got you sick. But it was what came next that had Twitter buzzing. Try to get me canceled, still eating off that Tory beat. Let's pause there. That one line felt like a surgical strike, and everyone knew exactly who she was talking about. The Tory beat reference was interpreted as a direct shot at not just her haters, but possibly at Nicki Minaj herself. Why? Because in the lead up to Tory Lanez's high-profile shooting trial, where Megan was the key witness, Nicki had been seen subtly aligning with people against Megan. While she never outright supported Tory, her online interactions and retweets painted a blurry picture. And in a rap world where silence is as loud as a statement, that ambiguity said everything. Megan's lyric about someone eating off the Tory beat didn't necessarily mean Nicki used as actual production. It was metaphorical. Fans believe Megan was implying that some women in the industry, women who previously aligned with her, had started profiting off her trauma, using the controversy surrounding her as fuel for their own narratives, clicks, and clout. And when the dust settled, who had the most to gain from watching Megan fall? Who stood to benefit if Megan was painted as a liar, a drama queen, or an attention seeker? Nicki. And let's not forget, during the trial, Nicki stayed completely silent. Not one word of support. Not a single comment of sympathy. No public sisterhood. No protect black women post. And for someone who had once embraced Megan as a friend and collaborator, that silence felt loud. Especially when you consider the kind of vitriol Megan faced online. People calling her a liar, mocking her trauma, even sending threats. It wasn't just about rap beef anymore. It was about real-life consequences. Megan was fighting for her credibility, her safety, and her place in the industry. Meanwhile, Nicki was dropping cryptic lyrics and letting the Barbs do the dirty work. And those lines, whether in Red Ruby or in Megan's FTCU, they were more than shade. They were battle cries, strategic, precise, and devastatingly effective. Because in 2023, female rap beef didn't play out on diss tracks anymore. It played out in metaphors, TikTok reactions, and fan-fueled conspiracy threads. And Nicki and Megan, they were playing the game better than anyone. And then came the mic drop moment. After years of silence, subliminals, and one-sided shade, Megan the Stallion finally responded. And when she did, it wasn't messy. It wasn't loud. It was lyrical surgery. Cold, calculated, and devastating. The track? A surprise freestyle that dropped in early 2024. No rollout. No announcement. Just a dark beat, a link, and a mic. And within seconds of pressing play, fans knew Megan had come to burn the entire house down. She was calm, controlled, but every bar landed like a gut punch. Then, about 2/3 of the way through the verse, she dropped the line that would send the internet into cardiac arrest. These bees talk loud, but they marry to predators / I don't play Megan's Law, but I register pressure. Let's pause and unpack that. Because that line? That wasn't just shade. That was scorched earth. First, the wordplay is unreal. Megan flips the phrase Megan's Law, the 1996 federal law requiring public notification of registered sex offenders, and uses it to set the trap. I don't play Megan's Law sounds like clever wordplay on her own name, but the double meaning was crystal clear to anyone who's been following the drama. Because who's married to a registered sex offender? That would be Nicki Minaj. Her husband, Kenneth Petty, was convicted of attempted rape in 1995 and served time. And in 2020, he was arrested again for failing to register as a sex offender in California. It's not a rumor. It's not fan fiction. It's public record. So when Megan said she doesn't play Megan's Law, she wasn't just flexing a clever bar. She was taking a direct shot at Nicki's decision to publicly defend and legally align herself with a man convicted of sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. The line is brutal, sneaky smart, and savagely poetic. It's also unmissable. And that last part, but I register pressure, was the cherry on top. Megan took the same word, register, flipped its meaning, and turned the insult into a flex. While Kenneth Petty was out here dodging legal registration, Megan was registering pressure in the rap game, dominating charts, making moves, winning Grammys, performing solo, and never once needing to lean on scandal to stay relevant. The internet exploded. TikTok lit up with reaction videos breaking down the bar frame by frame. YouTube lyric analysts had a field day. Twitter threads connected the dots between that lyric and years of passive-aggressive tension between the two women. And within hours, Megan's Law was trending. Not the statute, but the diss. Fans were screaming that Megan had delivered a silent nuke. Calm voice. No names. Just facts and fire. Even Nicki's most loyal barbs had to admit, Megan had entered a different tier of savage. She didn't yell. She didn't get emotional. She just dropped the truth with surgical precision and let the lyrics speak louder than any interview ever could. And let's be clear, this wasn't just a diss. This was reclamation. Megan had been the target of taunts, victim blamed through the Tory Lanez trial, and mocked in bars by artists who should have had her back. But instead of lashing out online, she waited. And when she spoke, she reminded everyone why she's not just a rapper. She's a writer, a strategist, a woman who knows how to kill with a pen and keep her nails clean. The moment sent shockwaves through the industry. Other artists got quiet. No one wanted smoke. Because if Megan was willing to go there and do it with that level of lyrical control, the game had changed. She didn't just clap back. She rewrote the rules. Now, to truly understand the weight behind Megan's diss and the deep-rooted tension between her and Nicki Minaj, we have to talk about the man behind the controversy, Kenneth Petty. Because while Nicki may be the face of Barbie dreams and platinum plaques, her husband has become a dark stain on her legacy. And it's not just fan drama. It's a criminal record, a lawsuit, a whole media circus. This isn't gossip. It's the kind of scandal that follows you for life. Kenneth Petty is no stranger to the criminal justice system. In fact, before he ever appeared on the red carpet next to Nicki, he had already racked up serious convictions. The most disturbing? A 1995 attempted rape charge that landed him on a New York sex offender registry for life. Here's what happened. In 1994, when Kenneth was just 16 years old, he was convicted of attempting to rape a 16-year-old girl named Jennifer Hoff at knife point. He served roughly 4 years in prison and was required to register as a Level 2 sex offender, a classification indicating a moderate risk of repeat offense. Let that sink in. This isn't some petty crime from teenage years. This is a violent sexual offense that haunted not just his past, but would go on to haunt Nicki's public image. Fast forward to 2019. Nicki Minaj reintroduces Kenneth Petty to the world not just as her boyfriend, but her soon-to-be husband. And the internet was shocked. Fans pulled receipts. Articles resurfaced. People asked, why is one of the biggest female rappers in the world, who built her empire on empowering women, aligning herself with a convicted sex offender? And Nicki's response? Silence at first, and then defiance. In multiple social media posts and interviews, Nicki began defending Kenneth. She insisted he was being unfairly targeted by the media, claiming the rape charge was a youthful mistake and that the victim was lying. She told her fans that Kenneth and the alleged victim were in a relationship at the time, trying to paint the situation as a teenage fling gone wrong. But the court documents told a very different story. A knife was involved. There was a conviction, and nothing about it had been overturned. Things only got worse when Kenneth moved to California with Nicki and failed to register as a sex offender in the new state. In 2020, he was arrested by U.S. Marshals. Yes, you heard that right. U.S. Marshals. He later pled guilty to the federal charge and, in 2022, was sentenced to a year of home confinement, 3 years of probation, and ordered to pay a $55,000 fine. The headlines were explosive. Nicki Minaj's husband, a platinum-selling artist partner, was now officially a federal felon. And instead of distancing herself, Nicki doubled down. She stood by him, publicly, proudly, loudly, but didn't stop there. Because the most damning chapter was still to come. Jennifer Hoff, the victim in Kenneth's 1995 case, stepped forward. And what she revealed shocked even Nicki's most loyal fans. In 2021, Jennifer filed a lawsuit against both Kenneth Petty and Nicki Minaj, accusing them of harassment and witness intimidation. According to her complaint, Jennifer alleged that Nicki and her team attempted to pressure her into recanting her story, offering bribes, applying psychological pressure, and even sending people to her home to threaten her into silence. Jennifer claimed she was offered $20,000 to change her public account, and when she refused, she began receiving disturbing calls and threats that made her fear for her life. Jennifer even appeared on The Real, breaking down in tears as she spoke about how Nicki's fame had become a weapon used against her. She said she was tired of being silent, tired of watching the world praise a woman who, in her words, knows the truth but chooses to protect her husband at any cost. That interview was a bombshell. For the first time, the public heard directly from the woman behind the headlines. Not just a name on a court document, but a voice, a story, a human being whose trauma was being dragged into the spotlight against her will. And Nicki? She stayed silent. No public apology. No statement of empathy. No denial strong enough to shift the tide. Just more defiance. And behind the scenes, the lawsuits dragged on. Nicki's legal team tried to get her removed from the lawsuit, arguing that she had no direct involvement in the harassment. But the damage was already done. The perception that Nicki Minaj was willing to harass a rape victim to protect her husband, that stuck. So when Megan Thee Stallion took that shot about being married to predators, it wasn't just petty rap beef. It was a commentary on everything. The silence, the deflection, the lawsuits, the trauma. It was a reminder that while Nicki Minaj may still dominate charts, her legacy is now inextricably linked to a man who represents the very thing she claims to fight against. And for fans who once saw Nicki as the ultimate girl's girl, the champion of the underdog, the voice for the voiceless, that alignment with Kenneth Petty wasn't just controversial. It was heartbreaking. At this point, calling it a rap beef feels reductive, because what's unfolding between Megan Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj isn't just lyrical sparring. It's not just slick bars over hard beats. This is something deeper, something messier, something far more personal. This is a reputation war, and it's being fought in the booth, in courtrooms, in Instagram comments, on TikTok timelines, and across a divided internet where the fans have become the foot soldiers. The public has already picked sides, and once that line got drawn in the digital sand, there was no going back. On one side, you have Megan's supporters, who see her as the phoenix who rose from betrayal, courtroom trauma, and relentless online harassment to reclaim her voice. To them, Megan isn't just defending herself, she's defending the truth. Her bars feel like survival. Her silence wasn't weakness, it was restraint. And now that she's speaking, every word hits like a reckoning. On the other side, you have the Barbs. And let's be clear, this isn't just a fandom. It's a force. These are loyalists who believe Nicki Minaj has been unfairly villainized, that her crown is constantly under siege, and that every critique of her husband is really just an attack on her throne. They'll defend her till the end, no matter how complicated the facts may be. To them, Megan's lyric about married to predators wasn't clever. It was disrespectful. It was crossing a line. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Both women have thrown dirt. Nicki didn't just let the Barbs do the dirty work. She's taken shots herself. From the sneaky tweets to the radio rants, to those verses that many interpreted as jabs, she's stirred the pot as much as anyone. And Megan? She's not innocent either. That recent verse wasn't a warning shot. It was a lyrical airstrike. It was smart. It was precise. But it was also designed to cause maximum damage. And now, neither one can back down. Because it's no longer about music, it's about image. About legacy. About control over a narrative that's spiraling faster than either of them can catch. The longer this feud plays out, the more it threatens to reshape how we remember both of them. For Megan, the risk is being reduced to the girl who was shot or the one who clapped back at Nicki, instead of being recognized as a powerhouse writer and survivor. For Nicki, the stakes are even higher. She's not just defending her rap supremacy. She's defending her judgment, her inner circle, her brand as a feminist icon. And her refusal to distance herself from Kenneth Petty has created a permanent crack in the mirror of perfection she spent over a decade building. Career-wise, this feud is a double-edged sword. It keeps both women in headlines, sure. But at what cost? Major brands are watching. Industry gatekeepers are choosing sides quietly. And every new jab adds another layer to the tension that now defines this generation of female rap. And maybe that's the most heartbreaking part of all, because at one point, Nicki and Megan could have been unstoppable together. They were the dream collab. Hot Girl Summer felt like the start of a new era. Two powerful women lifting each other up in a male-dominated genre. But now, that dream is dead. And what we're left with is a fractured sisterhood, fueled by ego, betrayal, and the kind of silence that screams louder than any diss track. So no, this feud won't end soon. Not because there's still something to prove, but because there's too much to lose. This isn't a headline. It's a chapter in rap history. And the final page? Still unwritten.